to the Spring 2018 Student Presidential Debate. Our candidates this year are Kelsey Frost of the Liberty Party, Gage Roman of the Freedom Party, and Jonas Kulzer of the Patriot Party. Each candidate will have up to a minute to make an opening statement. Let's start with Gage.
Hello, I'm Gage. I'm running for the Freedom Party, and this has been a pretty interesting experience so far, and I can't wait to hopefully become the president. And I feel like I can do a lot for the school, and I'm really hoping that you guys will vote for me.
Very good. Kelsey.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Frost, and I am running for the Liberty Party alongside my Vice President, Grace Wilford. We would like to start off by saying that I feel really honored to be here along two other great candidates, but I would like to put in a plug quick for the Liberty Party. We truly hope to make Brandon Valley a place that you want to be at by unblocking YouTube, better school lunches, and better regulation of temperature. Furthermore, the Liberty Party strives to make Brandon Valley a place that makes you feel prepared for the future, with aspects such as the CTE wing. Our platform is based around the idea that Brandon Valley will prepare you for wherever you want to go in life.
Very good. And Jonas.
I'm Jonas Kulzer from the Patriot Party, and I'm running with my mate Jimmy Hoffman. We're at the Patriot Party. We're pretty simple. We just want to make Brandon Valley a more fun and more efficient place by whatever means we deem necessary. So I hope you vote for me.
Very good. We'll start the debate where I will ask you each a question. I have three separate questions here. Jonas, I'll let you choose. Would you like question number 1, 2, or 3?
Let's go with number 1.
Number 1 it is. All of you have ideas that would make the school more enjoyable. However, the goal of high school is to prepare students for the next step in their lives. What would you do to prepare students for their educational challenges that BV grads face after graduation?
You know, I think we already have a pretty good, we have pretty good outlets for learning what students want to do. And you mean as regards to getting into college or anything in that sense, or
Any post high school?
Sure. So we offer advanced classes, and we would try to be expanding those. For example, in our platform, we're offering advanced music theory classes. So we already offer a wonderful music program, but we want to expand upon that more and allow students to experience early on whether or not they want to go into a field. And we would also encourage more opportunities for students to come back and get help. I think by teachers offering things here and allowing students to kind of learn after they leave the nest, if you will.
Very good. Kelsey, question number 2 or 3?
I'll go with 2.
All right. The recent blizzard required the school to make difficult decisions about prom. As you know, prom was held at the high school this year. If you are elected president, where would you recommend that prom be held next year?
Like many of my fellow classmates, I was very disappointed with the process leading up to prom. But arriving at prom and after going throughout the dance, I actually really liked it at the high school. And I think many of my senior classmates agree. Mostly because there was a lot more places to take pictures, and there was a lot more room so you're not bumping into everyone. So as your president, I think I would keep it at the high school and keep part of the budget so that we can still make Brandon feel like a magical place with all its decorations.
Okay, very good. Engage, the third question goes to you. In these elections, candidates often make promises that they don't deliver. Over the years, students at Brandon Valley have been promised open lunch, more parking, the end of semester tests, and yet those promises have never occurred. Why should the voters believe that you will deliver on your campaign promises when they haven't been delivered in the past?
I feel like a lot of the promises that I've made are pretty realistic. Stuff that everybody in the school has needed and wanted. We really want to try and push for those. And while we might not be able to pass on everything that we want to do, we still want to make sure that all of the stuff that we want to do is reasonable and accomplishable by the student body and by the teachers.
Okay, very good. I'm going to do another question here. This one's going to be a scenario, and you have to tell how you would address this particular scenario. And again, there's 3 separate scenarios. Gage will let you choose this one. 1, 2, or 3.
2.
It's a Sunday night in mid-January, and the school's furnaces have stopped working. It will take at least a week to fix those. If the school is canceled for a week, the days will need to be made up, possibly in June. How would you handle this situation?
Well, if we could, I'd rather that we, instead of just not going to school, we try and go to maybe one of the elementary schools or the middle school, and try to go to a place that's conditioned so that we don't have to take those extra days off in June and go to school during June, because nobody wants to do that. So if we could go to another school, if we can't, then try to do it during June, and just hope everybody cooperates with that.
Okay, very good. Kelsey, 1 or 3? The night before graduation, a tornado causes major damage to the high school. Nobody was injured, but graduation cannot be held in the school. It's raining, so graduation cannot be held outdoors either. Many senior family members are in town for graduation, so they don't want to move the graduation to another date. How would you handle this situation?
I would first approach the situation by talking to the student body and letting them know what's going on so that they can be informed. And then I would start looking at some other options for where we could hold graduation. Maybe if it's a smaller class, we could hold it at the Shrine, or maybe one of the other schools would be willing to either let us borrow or rent their gym so that we could just hold it in another school.
Okay, very good. Jonas, a new federal law requires, this is a hypothetical, don't get concerned, students. A new federal law requires schools to add additional 20 days of instruction to the school year, starting next year. You need to decide how best to add those days. Would you start earlier in the fall, go later in the spring? Would you eliminate some holidays? Would you make a longer school day? Go on Saturdays? What would your plan to add 20 days to the school year?
I feel like that's, excuse me for sounding a little nerdy here, I feel like that would easily be solved by just adding a percentage to every day, if that makes any sense. Or not the school days, but if winter break is, a week and a half long, we would just take, 10% off of that, and we would start school 10% earlier and 10% later and everything. So rather than, chunking on another 20 days at the end of the school year, just try to add in those days intermittently around so that it still feels like the normal year. You just might have, one less day of a winter break, and maybe you start school a day earlier rather than and end school a day later. I think that would be the most efficient way and most pleasant way to handle that.
Now, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but that's only 3 days.
I mean, I can't do the math in my head, but you said 20 days, correct?
20 days.
So maybe start a week earlier, end a week later, and then add days intermittently throughout where we had breaks. I think that would be the most efficient way to handle that.
Okay, very good. All right, we'll do one more question. This question is to all of you, and you'll each have a chance to answer it. Let's go with, we'll go with Kelsey, Jonas, and Gage in the order. Let's start with this one. Of all of the ideas listed in your platform, which one do you think is your best, is your signature issue that you would put the highest priority on, the first thing that you would try to implement now that you're president? Kelsey.
I think the first thing that the Liberty Party came up with that I would try to implement is the addition of more routers to the schools so that we could have better Wi-Fi, which would help the bandwidth, and therefore we could unblock YouTube. Because I know it's very frustrating as a student to not have access to certain videos and to also not be able to listen to music to help me focus while I study.
Okay, very good. Jonas, what would be your issue?
The best thing that that we bring to the table is the idea of the key fobs. If anyone has read our platform, this is really efficient because it improves student life and it also improves safety. So what we would do is, just as the teachers have, we would give students these key fobs to have on their laptops. So we wouldn't have to worry about them getting lost because nobody really loses their laptop. And it would be a good way for students to get in the building, especially during the winter, and it would ensure that only students are getting into the building with these key fobs, since it's, again, on your laptop and that's not something that you can easily get stolen. The example that I always use is, juniors, if they have an appointment in the middle of the winter, they have to park in their parking lot and then walk all the way around the school to the front doors. And I think it's still good to make the students check in, but just a way to get into the building would just make things so much easier and so much more efficient.
Okay, very good. Engage.
I believe that the music streaming service that we want the school to provide is something that I'm really hoping that we get past. Studies have shown that students who listen to music and to study and just to do their homework, it helps a lot with concentration. And if the school provided everybody with a music streaming service that used up less bandwidth and was easier for the students to use, it'd be much better for everybody so that we weren't using that much bandwidth and everybody gets to listen to music and it would help with study.
Okay, very good. We are to the part of the debate where candidates get to ask each other questions. The first round will go in this order, so Gage, you'll get to ask the first question, Kelsey the second question, and Jonas the third. So Gage, you can ask whichever candidate you want a question.
Jonas,
Yes?
why do you want to buy Badlands Speedway track?
All right, so I know this sounds outlandish, but it's not necessarily that the school is going to throw down $9.3 million and suddenly have Badlands and we're just going to, the hoop-de-hoop. We would be encouraging the city and the school to buy this, and it would be such an improvement to the community because there's so much that we can do to this. It's not just for the high school, it's for all of Brandon, because we could do anything with it. We could repurpose it as a speedway or some sort of entertainment service, and it would pay itself off very quickly. We could repurpose it for parking, or put like practice fields or a real field there and expand our parking. It opens a lot of doors, and it would be very efficient.
Okay, when we do these questions, if you've asked a question and you feel like the person did not answer it, or you want to follow up, you're allowed to ask for clarification too. Any clarification on that you think is needed?
So when you say parking, like using that area as parking, are you saying that for students or just the town in general?
What I mean by parking is we have the practice fields right now, and we can turn those practice fields into parking and then take our practice fields and put them in Q6.
Okay, Kelsey, you may ask a question.
So we've talked a little bit about parking spots, and part of your platform is adding more parking spots to the school. Where do you envision adding more of these parking spots?
I want to add more parking spots in the practice fields that we currently have. Since that we're adding a turf field onto the football stadium, we can get rid of one of the practice fields since we can now practice on the turf field. So that will free up more land that we can make into parking spots.
If you use the main football field for practicing for marching band, where do you plan on having the football players practice?
We plan on having the football players practice on the turf field and then the marching band out on the regular dirt grass field.
Okay, and Jonas, you may ask a question to whoever you like.
All right, Kelsey. So the big part of your platform is wanting to buy more routers, and my question to you is that adding more routers won't necessarily increase bandwidth. You would have to buy a better package from the internet service provider. So are you planning on funding that, or are you just like, I guess I just want you to go into more detail about your idea with the routers.
Sure. The idea with the routers is that we would have a separate router for each grade. And just kind of like water running along a pipe, the more water there is, the more you have to deal with. So with less students on one router, you wouldn't necessarily need more bandwidth. You could still use the same amount of bandwidth for each router. And the purchasing of routers, we have some ideas in our party to implement, such as the selling of student-made items. Each month we would propose having an activity fest where students would be able to sell some of the items that they have made in school and make a portion of that money back for themselves, as well, in turn, also making money for the school.
So would you, because not like all freshmen don't go into certain senior areas, and we're not all mixed together all the time. So are you considering putting 4 of each router in each classroom? Because that quadruples the amount of routers that we have.
Yes, depending on the teacher. Like you said, there are some classes that are strictly senior classes and some classes that are strictly for freshmen. And other areas such as the gym don't necessarily need it. So I don't think it will be as big as an expense as it seemingly seems at first.
Okay, this round we'll go Kelsey, Jonas, and then Gage. So Kelsey, you can ask the first question.
Okay, Jonas, a big part of your platform is using the key fob access, and you say that will help implement more safety procedures. Or not safety procedures, but help make the school safer. But how do you propose handling situations where the person that is causing harm is actually a student themselves that can get into the school with this key fob?
I think it gets more complicated regardless of whether or not there's key fobs, because any of our students could easily walk in and want to harm people. And that's, the key fobs aren't solving problems like that, it's solving non-domestic problems. So that's something that, in my opinion, that's almost out of our reach as of right now. I mean, I think there are things we can do about it, but within the platform we haven't touched that because, I mean, not even the school has done much about that yet. So it's just a different problem.
So just to clarify, you do not have a plan if the student was the one to cause harm?
What I'm saying is we don't have a plan right now regardless.
Okay, Jonas, the next question is yours.
Kelsey, so in your platform, when you're talking about school lunches, you want to expand and make it healthier and have more options, but you also want to add a lot of desserts, but that kind of contradicts the healthy portion of your platform. What do you have to say about that?
Our platform's intention was never to make the school healthier. I believe that the school is doing a great job trying to implement healthy options into school lunches by offering whole grain options and the offering of salads. Our mission at the Liberty Party is rather to make the food more appealing to students so that they actually want to eat the food here. And the dessert would have a limit. And if you look at college campuses, you also have the option of dessert. So I don't see why we can't implement that here at Brandon so that if the student's having a rough day, they can get something healthy or they can get a dessert.
Okay, Gage, your question.
So Kelsey, you said that you wanted to add a courtyard with grills and fire pits for the students. Where would you want to implement that in the campus?
I would implement it by taking out the extra practice field that we have at the moment. Right now, across the street near where Dairy Queen used to be, there's an empty lot. So I would propose either buying that for the courtyard or using that as new parking area and using one or the other for our courtyard system.
Okay. All right. I will ask some questions now that all of you will have an opportunity to answer. We'll go Jonas, Gage, and Kelsey on this first question. In elections, sometimes they get nasty. Sometimes there's statements that are made about opponents that you feel are unfair. Do you feel that any statements, either in commercials or in the stump speeches, have been made unfairly about you? And this gives you a chance to address those particular issues and set the record straight. Jonas, any issue that you have with how you've been portrayed?
I don't think so. I think what I put out there is my own voice and my own body, and whatever I put out there I think is open to criticism, and I think it should be. And anything that my opponents put out there should also be up for criticism. And I think that's a healthy election, to be honest. So no, I don't think anything has been unfairly said. And for the most part, I don't think that anything unfair can be said.
Okay, very good. Gage.
I'd have to agree with that. Pretty much everything I've put out is what I believe in, and if anybody wants to criticize that, they sure can, but it's what I believe in, it's what our party believes in, and I would not be upset if somebody said something against it.
All right. And Kelsey.
I agree with these two. I think that anything I say or do, this is an election, has the opportunity to be criticized. The only thing I would like to say is in your last commercial, Jonas, you said I wasn't about anything because my decorations were not up yet. And they are up now, and we have a pretty great stand, if I do say so myself. So I just want to clarify to the voters that the Liberty Party is working for you. We're just being patient so that we can have the best ideas possible in the end.
Okay, very good. All right, the next question, we'll go Gage, Kelsey, and Jonas. Again, the same question to all of you. What personal talent or skill do you possess that you feel your opponents do not? And how will that talent or skill make you a better president?
I've said this in a couple of my commercials and my interview. One thing that is really important about me is that I am a natural-born leader. In everything that I do and everything that I'm a part of, I try to be a leader, even if it's not a named leader. For example, in marching band, while I was not a section leader, I still tried to be there for the underclassmen, for people who needed help, who needed that leadership in their life. And I try to do that in everything that I'm a part of, and it's a really big part of who I am.
Okay, very good. Kelsey.
I think that what makes me stand out is my ability to do public speaking. It is something I have been doing since I am 8, so I am very familiar with it. And I have also won numerous awards that has taken me to places like state oratory or even to girls state. So because of my experience, I have the abilities to communicate with the student body so that they actually know what's going on.
Very good. And Jonas.
I think what puts me above my opponents is my ability to negotiate, I think. Being president is a lot of diplomacy. It's a lot of getting things done, but it's getting things done with other people. I have the ability to, I can really let myself be comfortable with any situation or any group of people. And that gets things more done than, speaking in front of a large group. I think it's more about the real interpersonal connection that you can have with people, networking and negotiating. And I think that's what really puts me above my opponents.
Okay. The next question, again to all of you. We'll start with you, Jonas. You've read your opponent's platforms. What is the worst idea that you've seen in either of your opponent's platforms?
Okay, can I ask you to elaborate? Do you mean worst as in their execution, or just worst idea regardless?
However you want to answer that.
Okay. I think what bugs me the most is Kelsey's idea of the wireless routers. I think she just doesn't realize how much more complicated internet service providers are, and how network bandwidth and everything works. So I would just recommend to do some more research there.
All right. Kelsey, the worst idea of either of your two opponents?
I think the worst idea is Jonas's idea to the Badlands Speedway. This has been brought up many times, and I think that's because it's clearly a bad idea. Going to be blunt here. It's a lot of money that would take many years to regain when we could be spending our money on things that are more worthwhile to the students.
Okay, engage.
I think that Kelsey's idea to have a courtyard is probably the worst idea. While it may sound fun, I just don't see it being very practical. Students could hurt themselves just doing stuff that they could do at their own houses or at their friends' houses. And I just don't see why we couldn't just use that space for something else like parking when it's just stuff that you could do at your house.
Very good. A couple more questions here. Again, to all of you, we'll start this one with Kelsey. Which public figure, could be a living or it could be a historical public figure, are you the most like that you draw inspiration from or you see yourself being similar to?
And this has to be like a real life person.
However you want to answer it.
Okay, because I think the person that I'm most related to, if I'm allowed to talk fictional, is Anne from the book Anne of Green Gables. It's a classic, so I don't know how many people have read it. But Anne is just a fiery spirit with a sweet heart, and she puts her mind to something, and when she does, she gets it done. And I feel like I have always related with that. I have passion, and I have drive, and I'll get things done.
Very good. Jonas.
I think I relate myself the most to Hank Green, if you're familiar with the Green Brothers. John Green, he wrote that book that's really popular, Fault in Our Stars. But together they've done a lot for the world and for charity. They started VidCon, which is just that's the YouTube convention, and that's just a big pot of money for charity. And they're really natural speakers, and they're comfortable doers with the world. And I really relate, and I connect with, I guess Hank specifically, but the Green Brothers in general, with how they use the media and like these things that we've made and that we use so much, and how they use that as their outlet to get things done and change the world.
Very good. Gage.
So the person that I think that I look up to most is Casey Neistat. He's a YouTuber, but he's also a influential speaker. He travels all over the world making videos, and he also does talks to people, and he started from very humble beginnings, and he's made his way up to where he is now, and in everything that he does 100%, and he's just very influential.
Okay. Last question. A little more lighthearted one. The President of the United States, when he enters a room, the song Hail to the Chief is played. If you could have your own theme song that would play whenever you enter a room, what would that theme song be? And we'll go Gage, then Kelsey, then Jonas.
It's kind of a weird question. I guess if I had to choose any song, I'd probably just choose our national anthem. If you're the president, you might as well have, the actual national anthem coming in with you. And I feel that's a very good choice.
Okay, very good. Can't remember the order I said. Is Kelsey next?
I think if I was president, I'd have our school song played, because that's always played before games, and it gets me really pumped up. So I think I would choose our school song to be my song.
Very good. And Jonas?
I guess this one applies a little bit more to me. There's a song, Hajanga, by Jacob Collier, and the song is just about, connecting with people and spreading love and stuff like that. And it's just a really fun, upbeat song. I think people would like it a lot, so I would pick that.
Very good. We're just about to the end. There's just closing statements left. We'll go Gage, Jonas, and Kelsey making their closing statements. You have up to a minute. Gage, you can go first.
I feel like my party and myself have a lot of great ideas for the school, and everything that we do, we're trying to do so that the way that students go through school is more enjoyable, and that everybody enjoys their school day. And I feel that if you vote for me, we will do our best to make sure that everything that you want gets done, and everything that we want in our party platform gets done.
Very good. Jonas?
All right, so at the Patriot Party, I think we would like to just remind everyone that, that the president is not a king nor a tyrant. He's a spokesperson for the people, and that's what I'm going to be for you. And we're going to make sure that it's not about, you know, I mean, I have my platform, but it's not about what I want, it's about what we want. And it's about what I can do to help us as a class get things done and make things better. So I just want to remind everyone that it's not just me, it's all of us, and it's me allowing us to do that.
Okay, very good. And Kelsey?
I just want to thank everyone for allowing me to be here and taking the time to hear what me and my fellow candidates have said. Just remember that I am Kelsey Frost, running alongside my VP of Grace Wilford, and here at the Liberty Party, we want to make Brandon a place you want to be by bettering school lunches, unblocking YouTube, and preparing you for whatever amazing things you have next. Just remember, who else but Kels?
Very good. You all three did an excellent job. This concludes the spring 2018 presidential debate.